Good afternoon, everyone. It's Monday, June 13th, 2016, and this is the regular meeting of Moscow's Public Works and Finance Committee. To my right, Walter Steed. To my left, Catherine Bonzo, Barry Riedner, City Supervisor, and already in place at the table, Sarah Banks for the Finance. The first item we have tonight, this afternoon, is the approval of the Public Works and Finance Committee minutes from May 31st that have been changed to include some better information than what we had before, than were in the minutes as put on the web. So, any comments on those? Did you get those?
The ones that were updated?
Yeah, the big red.
Yeah, I should have just, I handed it out to you.
Oh.
Second page.
I would approve with the change.
Oh, right. We talked all about that. Yeah, I'm fine with this, too.
Okay, I'm good, too. So the minutes are approved. Next up is the disbursement report for May of 2016. Gary and Sarah.
Okay, thank you. I will be presenting today, and we'll stand for any questions, and Sarah and I will work on those. I will be out on the meeting on the 20th, so Sarah will be presenting on, or be available that night. You have the report in front of you. First, I'd ask if there are any questions about disbursements.
Anything out of the ordinary show up?
No, actually, everything is pretty much routine at this point. We're starting to see our capital projects and construction come through, so you will see those start to heat up this next billing cycle, and then so you'll see them in July, August, and September typically. We've got a big one coming through on well number 10,
Yes.
which you'll see next month.
It was really fun to have a chance to finally feel like I could read them all this time, taking in everything. And I got to thinking about, in terms of understanding capital projects, and on this end I feel like we get to ask a lot of questions and understand what's going on, but I thought about when you put stuff up on the website, is the information about the timeline for the projects and how that money, how long, like some of it gets held before it gets spent. Is there any kind of information about that? Because I think sometimes that's the stuff that gets lost. You know how we're finally getting to do 3rd Street, right? Yay. But that's been in the works for how long?
It's actually only been a couple of years. We've moved monies around within the street department to be able to do that. A large portion of that project is also water and sewer, because there's new, I believe, sewer line and water line going in that project as well.
Yeah.
So I think what you're asking is whether there is some sort of a plan. You could see a multi-year plan for what projects are going to come up. We'll cover that in the budget. You'll see accumulation accounts and where transfers out from rates, for instance, for water and sewer go into an accumulation account for projects that are then set out in our water and sewer comprehensive plans.
And I felt like Les did that when I had a chance to sit with him, but I got to thinking about regular citizen trying to access the information to understand, like, well, when did this happen? And to see how long the planning took and all the things that got put in place beforehand. And I really appreciated that. And the reason this got me thinking is because when Kevin came up to talk to us about how all the neighbors and everybody had been, letters had been sent and everything had been sent out. And just that piece, and I kept thinking, most people don't realize that that's all the steps that happened. And I think you could do it in a way that just helps people. I don't know. I just got to thinking about it as a citizen, like, I wonder how long they've been thinking about that. That was all.
Yeah, if I may. We're in the process of developing a long-range financial plan, too, which is actually where you can marry the financial resources with the construction plans. Okay. So we'll hopefully have that done. Of course, with Dawn moving on and Sue coming back now, she was really the architect of a lot of that. So we hope not to miss too many steps on that. But we should have that ready, I'm hoping, by the end of this year, if not sooner. So once we have that, we can post that, and we will reference that in the budget. And we can probably put something out, maybe a year's forecast into construction projects, and then opportunities for the public to participate if they like.
Yeah, but even the participation piece, of course, but just also having a place to direct them to the bigger picture of what's, because there's always
You
a
bet.
bigger picture of what's going on.
Yeah,
So thanks.
you can certainly do that.
Good stuff. So how does the disbursement look? Everybody okay with that?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay.
The special pen and the piece of paper. I'm not going to try and run the next item while I'm signing my name at the same time.
There you go.
Okay. Next up, we have the resolution for airport improvement grant approval. Once again, it's Gary.
Thank you very much. And again, since I will not be here next Monday night, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Since I'm not here next Monday night, Tony Bean, the Executive Director of the Pullman Moscow Regional Airport, if you could come forward. You won't be here Monday night?
No, I will bring Kevin.
Okay. Great. What you have before you is a resolution. Tony can explain it, but ultimately, it is, the FAA requires that the sponsors, Pullman and Moscow both being the sponsors on the airport project, need to formally accept grant monies as they come forward. Although the project's been approved by the FAA, the grant funding is somewhat fluid. So as it comes up, they will ask for a resolution for each of those, I'm presuming. This one is for $41 million. Doesn't mean we're going to get $41 million yet, because some of it is allocated money that will come to the airport, and some of it is as money becomes available because of other projects that maybe aren't going on in other jurisdictions. We go through this same process a lot in our street projects. Sometimes funding will be available that ITD will make available for other projects if you're ready to go on those projects. So with that, I'd ask Tony if he has any comments.
So this is a standard routine, hurry, hurry, hurry when the grant comes out. The FAA says, well, you need 24 hours, sign it and get it back. And when we're dealing with two municipalities that have equal, as far as the FAA is concerned, this is all very equal. Pullman and Moscow are the sponsors, and they require the signatures from the mayors and legal counsel, and then the execution of the grants. The reason for the $41 million request is we're programmed for 25, but we're in an odd situation with Congress right now where they've only authorized the FAA up to July 15th for funding. So what happens when they do that with a lot of airport projects is airports, they either carry over funding that they have, they get $1 million every year, and if they don't carry that over and they're holding on to it, which is what happens when you're waiting to see if you have a project because funding's not there, there's no money that goes into the discretionary account, which is where we're being funded. The $24 million is coming out of discretionary. So we're waiting for carryovers to happen, and people are waiting right now for something to happen. What is July 15th going to look like? Are we going to get funded through the end of the year? Is it going to be an 18-month deal? Do we have enough in place? And so typically what happens when we do this is we'll get the 25 in July, and Congress will pass a continuing resolution to either continue the financing for 12 months or 18 months. We're hoping for at least 18. But they may do just through the end of the year. They may just go September 30th. When they do that, people's projects start fleshing themselves out, and people go, well, I don't need my money. And all of a sudden, the second week of September, the FAA gets flooded with people's entitlement money. And they have to spend it. It has to be gone by the end of the month. So they'll come back and say, okay, can you take another $10 million if you've got a big project that's high on a priority like ours is? So we made the ask for $41 million to prepare for that, and that's what we have matched to be able to cover.
Makes sense to me. I'd be happy to jump on other people's money real quick in support of the project.
For the edification of the committee and the public, the resolution that was published with the packets has been modified. Walter gave me a call and pointed out that we do not really receive this money, as we talked about with the eminent domain proceedings. The city of Moscow, as a sponsor, needs to approve of Pullman, who is located in Washington, to actually execute eminent domain. Same thing here. The City of Pullman is the financial agent for the airport. So we approve of Pullman receiving those funds and spending them on this project. And that the resolution you have before you now is more indicative of that situation.
And also, that's what I felt like you explained at the council meeting
Right.
as well.
Yeah, see, so both sponsors signed for the assurances and that they're going to operate the airport the way that the airport's been operated. And then the board has a financial agreement with the city of Pullman to provide the receipting and the grant services and those kinds of things financially.
And thank you again for coming to the council meeting.
Not a problem. That's what I'm here for, is to make sure we do that you have questions, that we have answers.
So, to me, it looks like it's good to be prepared to be able to receive the money should they become available, and this is good groundwork for that, and so I'm in favor of.
Mine too.
Okay, so regular agenda because it's a resolution.
It doesn't need to be. Ordinances and public hearings need to go. Since Tony's not going to be here unless you expect
Nope,
other
I
questions.
Put it
then-
on consent then.
Okay.
That's what it is for the city of Pullman. For tomorrow, it's on their consent agenda.
So, yeah, so we'll run consent on that one then.
Okay.
Double D dang, look at us go. We've run out of agenda items. Does anybody have anything else?
I thought you would make it almost to 20 after, but you beat 15 after, so way to go.
Rock on. Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.